There's a sound and horror that sticks with you long after you've muted the TV or, turned off your, console. There's a distant echo, like something half remembered. And I think there's a sound Silent Hill makes in the collective memory of gamers. For many years, Silent Hill has been the ghost in the room. Teased, hinted at, rumored, whispered, and then abandoned. Or, worse. Each time the name resurfaced, hearts beat a little faster, ropes rose a little higher, and then the silence, came back. But it's been a while since the silence has been broken. Because Silent Hill Townfall is, it's not even a rumor. There's multiple credible informations coming out right now, and in fact we got a new trailer for it. No fan speculation, it's a new Silent Hill project, one that might actually deliver on decades of anticipation. Alright, the return of the nightmare. The Silent Hill franchise is always excited in two states at once: nostalgic legends and unfinished potential. The original games, starting with Silent Hill 1999, rewrote psychological horror. They didn't just scare you, they confused you. They made you question reality. They turned environments into metaphors and monsters into mirrors. Then the franchise splintered. Some entries stayed brilliant, others lost the way. And the brand, once synonymous with psychological dread, was diluted across just experimental spin-offs and lukewarm reboots. Fans wanted a true return to form. They wanted horror that wasn't about jump cuts and cheap scares, but atmosphere, tension, dread, and subconscious fear. Which brings us to the rumor surrounding the Silent Hill Townfall. It's not a rumor, by the way. Reports first started surfacing in late 2025 from trusted insiders. They claimed that Konami had greenlit a new Silent Hill entry. This one titled Townfall, developed by several major horror veterans attached. Yeah, not just another Silent Hill game. This is purportedly a top-tier reboot, a psychological horror experience designed for next-gen hardware and modern horror, sensibilities. And it's not supposed to be a remake or nostalgic remake like previous projects. It's a forward-looking Silent Hill that still crucially feels rooted in the franchise's DNA. Townfall, for example, which is a name with weight. Let's talk about title for a second. It's definitely evocative, ambitious. It's just something beyond a town existing, something collapsing, crumbling, unraveling. Because Silent Hill wasn't just a place in video games, it was a manifestation, a symptom, a wound. It was the externalization of internal collapse. And if Townfall is the name, if it's signaling anything, it might be that this new game is not going to revisit the old formula of, you arrive in Silent Hill. It might explore the aftermath, the unraveling, the psychological breakdown of the town itself. And that alone is compelling. More importantly, the name Townfall implies agency, not just location. It's just collapses, descent, something breaking. In psychology, in fact, that's how nightmares work. They fall apart, logic dissolves, time bends, environment becomes threat. If Silent Hill Townfall leans into that theme, not just narratively but mechanically, we might be seeing a psychological horror evolution, not just a resurrection. So who's behind it? Unlike the 2012 Silent Hill Downpour or the divisive Silent Hill Homecoming, current industry chatter points to talent with actual horror pedigree being linked to Townfall's development. This isn't some, peripheral team moonlighting on a checklist. It's reportedly a team assembled with purpose, people who understand atmosphere, dread, systems, systemic emergence, environmental storytelling. If even half of the behind-the-scene reports are accurate right now, then Konami isn't experimenting with Silent Hill anymore. They're actually doubling down. The question is, why now? Because horror as a genre has exploded in the last decade. Not just jump scares, but psychological tension, games like Tetris Effect, Connected, Resident Evil Village, Alan Wake 2, The Callisto Protocol, Dead Space Remake, Outlast Trials. Horror as a stylistic diversity now. Players want different kinds of fear, and Silent Hill, a brand built on existential dread, could thrive if approached correctly. Now, we don't have confirmed plot details yet, but every credible rumor out there thread points towards something both thematic and meta. A story about the collapses of a town and the collapse of the psyche. Imagine a game where the world is not just a backdrop of fear but an active symptom of psychological disintegration. Rather than walking through, foggy streets searching for clues, imagine the town itself chasing you. Silent Hill has always been about inner demons made external, but Townfall is rumored to take that one step further: environmental metamorphosis. Rooms reshaping themselves, landmarks shift without warning. What was once familiar becomes twisted now. In other words, a game world is not static, it's reactive. A breakdown of place that mirrors a breakdown of mind. And that's a serious psychological, conceptual horror that the original Silent Hill games hinted at, but never fully explored in mechanical depth because it was basically impossible. It's one thing to walk into fog, it's another for the fog to morph into your worst thoughts and chase you. Mechanics that could redefine fear. Silent Hill's legacy hasn't just been narrative, it's atmosphere. Mechanically, this is where Townfall could shine. There are rumors widely circulated among horror game analysts and insider commentators that Townfall is exploring world instability systems. These are rumored development leads, but they're fascinating. Supposedly, Townfall might use advanced real-time environmental transformations tied to player psychology, which means the environment could change based on what the player fears most. Enemy types could emerge from the player's decisions. Landmark might distort in real time. Memory triggers could alter pathways. This isn't just scripted scares anymore. This is dynamic psychological architecture. Imagine walking down a familiar street, the way changes based on how long you linger. Imagine hallways shrinking or growing depending on your decisions. Imagine enemies that don't chase you blindly but stalk you psychologically. That's the evolution horror gamers have been waiting for. And if Townfall is experimenting with these types of systems, it's not just a new Silent Hill game, it's a new model for psychological horror. A Townfall takes cues from the best horror, evolutions. Games like Silent Hill 2, Amnesia, a PT, Resident Evil remakes, Alan Wake 2. It won't try to be shock first, it'll try to get into your head first. Imagine a protagonist where fears aren't just scripted into events, but part of the engine. A system where the game world monitors decisions, choices, hesitation, pacing, and then shifts the environment accordingly. That's what makes psychological horror truly effective, not a jump scare, a creeping doubt, a slowly unraveling sense that nothing is consistent. That reality itself is unstable. Silent Hill was actually born from that idea. Anyway, Townfall might just be the first time the franchise finally balances everything properly. We don't have gameplay, we don't have a release date, we don't even have officially story details, but Silent Hill Townfall as a concept has already achieved something rare in gaming. It has ignited imagination, not because fans are desperate, but because they believe that this time might actually deliver something special. Can it live up to expectations? That's a real question, and in horror, expectations are both a gift and a burden. The fog is coming, the town is falling, and when Silent Hill Townfall finally emerges from that mist, it might be not just a game, it could be horror reborn.